The Israelites were suffering again. They had turned away from God, and now, the Midianites ruled over them with an iron fist. Every year, these cruel oppressors would swoop in, stealing their crops and livestock, leaving the Israelites starving and afraid. But in the midst of their despair, God was about to raise up an unlikely hero, Gideon. Gideon was not a warrior. He wasn't a king or a prophet. He was just an ordinary man, trying to survive. But God had a plan for him. "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior." The angel said. "Mighty warrior? Me? If God is with us, why are we suffering? Where are the miracles our ancestors talked about?" The angel continued, "Go in the strength you have and save Israel from Midian. I am sending you." "But how? My clan is the weakest in Manasseh, and I am the least in my family." Gideon said, "The Lord will be with you. You will strike down the Midianites as if they were one man." The angel assured him. Gideon's first mission was a test of faith. He had to destroy the false gods of his people before he could lead them to victory. If Baal is a god, let him defend himself. Gideon's father said in defense of his son's action of destroying the altars of Baal. Gideon said, "Lord, if you will really use me to save Israel, give me a sign." He places a fleece on the ground. Gideon said, "If the fleece is wet with dew in the morning, but the ground is dry, I will know you are with me." Dawn breaks. Gideon squeezes the fleece, water drips out, but the ground is dry. He hesitates. Gideon said, "Don't be angry, Lord, but can we try one more time? This time, let the fleece be dry and the ground wet." Morning comes. The fleece is dry. The ground is wet. Gideon exhales deeply, realizing there is no turning back. God had answered him. It was time for battle. Gideon's camp. 32,000 men are gathered. God said to Gideon, "You have too many men, Gideon. If you win with this army, Israel will think they did it on their own. Send home those who are afraid." Gideon looks uneasy but obeys. 22,000 men leave. Only 10,000 remain. God said, "Still too many. Take them to the water. I will test them for you." Gideon watches as the men drink. Some kneel to drink, others scoop water with their hands while staying alert. God said, "Keep only those who drink with their hands." Gideon counts, only 300 men remain. Gideon, whispering to himself, 300? Against an army like the sand on the seashore? But God was about to show that victory does not depend on numbers, only on faith. Night falls. Gideon and his men creep toward the Midianite camp. Gideon overhears two enemy soldiers talking. The first Midianite soldier said, "I had a dream. A loaf of barley bread rolled into our camp and collapsed a tent. That can only mean one thing: Gideon and his army will destroy us," said the second Midianite soldier. Gideon smiles, his confidence growing. He returns to his men. "Get up! The Lord has given Midian into our hands," he said. Gideon's men stand on the hills surrounding the enemy camp, each holding a trumpet in one hand and a torch inside a clay jar in the other. Gideon, whispering, "When I give the signal, break the jars, lift your torches, and blow your trumpets." Gideon raises his torch and shouts, "A sword for the Lord and for Gideon." The men break their jars, revealing blazing torches. They blow their trumpets loudly. The Midianite camp erupts in chaos. Confused and terrified, the enemy soldiers turn on each other, fleeing in terror. With only 300 men, no swords, and no battle, Gideon and Israel won a mighty victory because God was with them. Gideon standing on a hill, looking at the sunrise, victorious but humble. Gideon started as a fearful man, hiding from his enemies. But when he put his trust in God, he became a mighty warrior. And just like Gideon, God can use anyone, even the least, the weakest, the most afraid, to do great things.